So, let's try this again. If it cut off this time, don't really make me a difference. I could just make a video and upload it. What's up, Miss Lady T. Dixon, Toy, EJ? But anyways, like I was just saying, if it cut off this time, don't worry, I'll just come back and upload a video. I don't have to do a live. This is exactly my point, in which I was telling somebody on my Facebook, as I was just saying, that we could just sit here and keep going in circles trying to appeal to supporters of R. Kelly. And we can keep just sitting here and neglecting information that we should be trying to change the narrative about, because people are giving biased information. But I must remind you all that I began blogging because on this specific topic, because I couldn't find anything but biased information. So sitting around expecting bigger platforms to be unbiased and saying that you don't want to watch whatever's going on their channel because you want an unbiased content creator, sometimes you just got to pick your poison. Because you're sitting there being open-minded does not mean that you're supporting the nonsense that's coming out of their mouth. When if you think about, a great majority of the videos that I've put out have been debunking Tasha K's bullshit in so many ways. Without directly calling her out and getting my page straight, I ain't have to do all that. Just focus on the content in general. But either way, I'd be lying to sit here and say that I don't watch her. Do I take her information as it is? No. I listen to what her source information is, and my objective is to see where it goes left, see where the narrative is coming from, and try to change that narrative in a more productive manner. This one guy was like, well, we could just keep doing what we're doing and just keep sharing these videos. Well, think about it. How many times have I told y'all that people would rather recreate my same information than to share it? So what do I look like having the expectation that just continuing to stay in the supporter category, that we're going to be able to reach the mass audience? When it comes to Tasha K, it's very clear that she has done a lot of damage over the last few years. So it should be very clear right now that, considering she's in this lawsuit with Cardi B, she's trying to clear up her little image. And if you go to the comments of this video in particular, you will notice how people were big up in her for saying that she's being unbiased and all this bull crap. Well, no. There's no way when it comes to this topic she can say she's being unbiased from this point on, or none of that. We all know by watching her that if she hadn't fell out with Tim Savage, if they hadn't called her out and made it seem like she's lying about certain things, then she probably would still be pushing their narratives. So with that being said, my objective is just to listen. A lot of these people blogging fail to realize that you can get more with honey than with vinegar. So sitting around making bogus allegations against people when you can just sit back and listen and make a sound, logical decision as to what you think about images and information that has been presented to you, that should let you know. I feel like, just like when I said I wasn't watching Surviving R. Kelly, I meant it at that time. I didn't want to give them that ratings. But like I said in the beginning, if I hadn't watched it, there'd be a lot of information I wouldn't have been able to point out, which has been inconsistent from these accusers. Same thing with Tasha K. If we're not sitting here holding her to the fire as to the things that she said in the past, all the things she's done to publicly taint potential jurors, if we don't call this shit out, who else is gonna do it? It makes no sense. But anyways, back to what I was saying before the video shut down. 2013, R. Kelly finds out he's going broke. He fires Daryl McDavid. Daryl McDavid, the man who's holding the money, comes back and sues R. Kelly for $1 million, saying he didn't get paid. How do you sit here and sue somebody saying you're not getting paid when you're the one holding the money? According to the twins and other people, R. Kelly was basically getting stipends, giving allowances. I'm trying to figure out how this man is such a master manipulator, and he has such a his business and just is just such a disarray. You got other people responsible for cutting him checks so that he can take care of his things. According to the twins, he was on the side of the road out of gas. According to other individuals, at this particular time period when he was going broke, he was staying in a little janky hotel. Imagine that, the king of R&B. All these millions of albums he sold. All this stuff he has purchased as far as inventory. And he don't know what's going on with his business. They had a little meeting, allegedly. I'll say that because I don't know it to be fact, like I can't prove that. But allegedly, there was a meeting had in which a whole bunch of questions came into play in which R. Kelly couldn't answer. They asked him how much was he worth? What's in his name? What is his assets? Does he have insurance? Does he have a will? All these common questions you would ask a person which you would think would be a no-brainer to ask. All questions he couldn't answer. As I was listening to this interview with Tasha K, I noticed a pattern, especially when it came to the brothers in specific. That would be a key example as to how people were being turned against each other, because even if you listen to things public announcement was saying, they would say things like management will come tell us that don't do this and don't do that, and they would say, well, R. Kelly didn't say that, he's right there, but it's other people pulling the strings, other people stirring the pot. So it could be very well plausible that these people were intentionally causing bad blood while they're sitting here doing mischievous deeds. But anyway, let's see if this audio is going to play.
Saying this stuff, and he said it just is what it is. Control. But he wasn't hateful. And Robert, everyone that knows, but actually does know Robert, will say he does not, he doesn't get vindictive. He'll be sour. I mean, he'll, hold a little grudge until there's peace, between people. He would never close his door and lock it to his family, kids, or friends. I mean, he'd always knock on the door, he'll open it.
don't know. It just cut off. Let me start it back over. What's up, Casey McDaniel? How you doing? Another thing I wanted to point out about what I heard. The twins said that R. Kelly wasn't really doing artist development. Well, that's what I was questioning last year when I saw that individuals were posting his former record label, Rockland. When I started seeing that, I had a lot of questions, of course. Seemed like to me somebody was trying to revive that. So what they said didn't necessarily mean that other people weren't giving the impression that R. Kelly could make your daughter a star. Because as we pointed out with Cheryl Mack, one of these so-called whistleblowers who recruited Joycelyn, this was something she did on her own. Okay,
However,
yeah.
everyone they will ever knows what actually does not will tell you he does not. He doesn't get vindictive. Power. I mean, he'll hold a little peace. Between people. But he never closed his door and locked it to his friends. I mean, he'd knock on the door. Kids got their mom. They're so curious about their dad. People point they could their mom and other open arms. Stan did a song with him in 2015. His daughter, his oldest daughter, and they did a song together. He was trying to help her. Yeah. So just his family were apart. A man behind bars. He without bail, and you see murders out on the street on bail. So there's still no evidence against him. So the prosecution, because you really hear the legal system, like the cops, every time you hear like, oh, Robert didn't get bail, every cop's going to say, oh, they must have a lot of stuff on you to keep him. And you'll hear that consistently. And they probably do have a lot of stuff, but it's in court to be ruled true or false. So he has a ton of allegations, enough to keep him behind bars, but he has not had any court to start throwing out stuff. You have to start organizing it. That's what trials are for. Testify, rule if this evidence is true or not true. But right now, what the prosecution has done, and what was unusual, is when that first Lifetime docuseries came out, then the Chicago prosecutor went out, basically opened up an 800 number and said, if you have any wrongdoing with R. Kelly, call this number now and we'll press charges. So and she did. She got some more charges against him. And that's unheard of. That's a winner. That's never been done. And you'll never hear that being done. And that's a black man. I mean, that's another thing too. I've never heard this.
As far as Angie Morgan, you said that Tasha K's video has never been that bad. Do y'all think it was on purpose? To an extent, I mean, maybe you missed some of the comments that she's made. Like, she's threatened that she would blow R. Kelly's brains out. She said a lot of vile things. A lot of vile things. She's gone way too far. She has presented a whole lot of information as though it was factual when she could have easily, just as I done, verified some of the simple things that she would come out and say. So I don't think she did it on purpose as far as trying to catch up the liars or nothing like that. I feel like what she did on purpose was use R. Kelly's names to build her platform, bashing him, which, if you recall, the twins have said multiple times that if you're not talking bad about R. Kelly, nobody wants to speak to you. Think about this fact. Like I was mentioning, he's questioning about his money in the 2013-2014 period. Then you have the Huffington Post come out. They have an interview with him, and even though I'm pretty sure they had agreed upon questions, they go left and try to rile his feathers. And from that point, you notice that a lot of people came with these allegations. They claimed that they reached out to R. Kelly's staff and got no response. But according to the twins and what they say, nobody's reached out to them. That really is kind of contradicting. Either these people are lying about saying they were trying to get R. Kelly's side of the story, or people were obviously ignoring them. Which brings me to another point that I mentioned last year. It made absolutely no sense to me why these people see all these allegations resurfacing in 2017. Nobody thinks to bring this man a public relations person. Nobody thinks to start issuing out these gag orders or subpoena these people to bring back these alleged settlements, since they claim they come with non-disclosures. Like, it's so many things. And one thing that Jaguar Wright did point out, that with these alleged settlements, I'm pretty sure there's stipulations to them. So in the case of people like Lanita Carter, who says on record, I risked jail time to tell my story, maybe these people were banking on this man being hemmed up to the point that they can't pursue any charges with them. Just a thought.
To cut you off, but what about his brother? No, Bruce Gary. Yeah. Well, Bruce was around when I was at the studio. I remember he had a little girl that he brought with him to the studio. So there's another family, event at the studio. He was always in and out of jail. When he was out of jail, Robert always, hired him for like security to, be there around him. I never met Carrie, but from what I heard, and I don't know this for a fact, but he was a foster dad. So when they were looking at him as being a possible contender for being the man in that tape in the 2008 trial, he was a foster dad, and that would have taken away his holder, setup that he had with the state. And my understanding is he's helped a lot of kids, but he's also... He claims that R. Kelly, his brother offered him $50,000 to take the rap for that tape. And that he's actually seen other tapes with his brother, with other... I'm willing to that. Well, and like I said, Carrie was never around. Okay. So they didn't have a relationship, and then Bruce, you hear good things, I mean, you heard the jokes that, like, Rob played on his brother, but, they played jokes on each other. But Carrie was not around. So I personally wouldn't trust anything he said, because there's a reason why he wasn't around. I mean, if he was this great loving brother, I would have met at some point. I didn't. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be talking to the brothers here. So, I've never heard anything bad about them. Okay. Or Bruce. Just that they run into trouble. That's the only thing I've ever heard. I'm willing to bet, though, that if you talk to Carrie and he mentions my brother was going to pay me this for saying that it was in the tape, it probably wasn't his brother that said that. It was probably someone like Daryl McDavid or an attorney that was trying to do that. And probably just trying to get rid of the whole scenario. Rob didn't even have access to.
And that's exactly what I said last year. That I felt like I never came across anything that anybody specifically said Carrie was in the video. To me, it made me feel like he had more of a guilty conscience. But thinking on a different level, obviously somebody could have told him that was the plan, just to get him riled up and against his brother. Who knows?
His own money. No, he didn't. Daryl McDavid. I mean, there were times that Lindsay had to go pick up Rob off the freeway. For the one time he ran out of gas. He was going to his house in Olympia Field.
So this is the incident where I was speaking on before I was cut off, I believe, in which this is when he started to realize his money was a little funny.